Let's talk about books, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the big books and the small books we can read. Let's talk about books. Let's talk about books. Let's talk about books. Let's talk about books. Hey, y'all, what's up? Welcome back to the Free Black Women's Library YouTube channel. My name is Ola. I am an artist, cultural worker, and the creator and director of a social art project called the Free Black Women's Library, which is located in Brooklyn, New York City. Woot woot! Welcome back. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking to you about books. Hence the theme song. What do y'all think about my theme song? Do you feel like singing along? Anywho, let's get into today's book. So, I'm going to share with you two books that I have read recently. And this video is specifically for the folks out there who are doing the Free Black Women's Library Reading Challenge, which means that you are attempting to read 24 books by December 31st, 2026. Now, what that means is that you are reading 24 books written by Black women or Black non-binary authors, right? And also, I created a list of 40 prompts, and you can choose from the 40 prompts as far as like which ones you want to respond to. I know there are some people who get their reading on in a really intense way and they're plan on doing all 40 prompts. And then there are some people who decided to take it easy. Shout out to y'all. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to do pick 10 of the prompts and do those. But for those of you who are doing the challenge, this video is for you. I'm going to share with you two books that respond to multiple prompts within the challenge that I have read recently. Now, here we go. As you know, there's different prompts. One of them is like a romantic or erotic novel. One is a book about Black feminism. One is a book about LGBTQIA nonfiction. One is a mystery, a thriller, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the two books I'm going to talk to you about today, the first one is called Lonely Crowds, and it's by Stephanie Wambugu. Stephanie Wambugu, Lonely Crowds. This is a novel. And the second book is called The Wilderness. The Wilderness is by Angela Flournoy. This is Angela's second book. Her debut was The Turner House. Now, we are reading, and when I say we, I mean our reading club, our book club, the Free Black Women's Library Reading Club, which meets on Zoom once a month, is discussing The Wilderness on February 1st on Zoom. And the writer, Angela Flournoy, will be there for that conversation. So check the Eventbrite or check the link in my bio if you want to come to that conversation. If you read The Wilderness and you want to talk to us about it, The Wilderness was a finalist for the National Book Award. It's been on a lot of like lists. It was on Obama's list 2025, which is very interesting because there is a little part in there where they talk about Obama. So I find it interesting that he chose this book as one of his favorite books of 2025 because he is mentioned in here. But yeah, it's on a lot of lists, national critics and so on like that. Similar to Lonely Crowds, both of these books have gotten some really good buzz out there in the book world and for good reasons. But I want to talk to you about the plot a little bit, but I don't want to spoil the story for you. So I'll tell you a little bit about Lonely Crowds. Lonely Crowds is the story of two friends who meet as children and they pretty much stay friends throughout their teenage years into adulthood. And their friendship is very unbalanced and very codependent, somewhat toxic, I would say. But I really like this book. I think that part of what I enjoyed about it is that it shows what can happen, the poor choices that people make out of desperation, right? The poor choices that people make when they're lonely, chronically lonely, the choices people make when they feel like they have no choice, right? I think that is part of what this book explores. It also explores being the only Black person or the only Black family in a white town. So there's a bunch of different themes in here, but the main theme, I believe, is friendship. And just an example of the interior lives of Black women who are struggling for connection, right? So that's Lonely Crowds. And it was a good read. It really hurt my heart to read in some parts because I related to both of the characters in the book as somebody who went to school in Muncie, Indiana, and was the only Black person. It was rough. I went to high school in Muncie, Indiana, and I was the only Black person at my high school. And I did get bullied and treated like crap by the white kids in the school. And it was very scary and very horrible. And I'm glad I'm no longer there. But yes, Lonely Crowds by Stephanie Wambugu. Good read, good read, good read. Now, the other book, which I mentioned already, is The Wilderness. Oh, and Stephanie, this is Stephanie's debut. I think I said that. The Wilderness by Angela Flournoy. Look at all that praise on the back. So much praise for this book that took her several years to write. I think she said it took her like 10 years to write it. And I understand because it takes me 10 years to write a sentence. Okay. But The Wilderness is about a group of friends and their friendship over the years. And similar to Lonely Crowds, it takes place over decades of time. And similar to Lonely Crowds, it does involve desperation, loneliness, connection, that interior life of Black women. It examines all of those things. So there's similar themes in these books, although The Wilderness is not so much focused on two people. This book is just focused on two people. The Wilderness gives you multiple characters. It gives you two sisters, Desiree and Danielle. It gives you a queer restaurateur named Nakia. It gives you a Black librarian named Monique, who I was like, am I Monique? Yeah, so she gives you multiple characters and you hear multiple voices. So that's The Wilderness. Now, really quick, I'm just going to let y'all know which of the prompts these books respond to, because we're talking about the reading challenge, right? So I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget anything. So for those of y'all who are looking for a book that focuses on relationships between women, these two books count for that prompt. If you're looking for a book that responds to the prompt, a new release, a book that was released in the last year, a book that has a pretty cover. See that? And a book with multiple POVs. Yeah, there's this thing that happens sometimes in a book where you get to hear the voices of the different characters. You get to hear their motivation, what's going on in their heads, how they're moving, how they're grooving, how they're developing. And that takes place in these books as well. You get to hear the voices of the two friends separately and together. And in this book, you get to hear the voices of all of the characters. There's a touch of sadness in both. So, trigger warning for that. If you're looking for something lighthearted and playful and fun, these do not qualify. But who needs lighthearted and playful and fun? Anywho, let me stop being goofy. Either way, I just wanted to share these books with you real quick because I know that there's folks out there who are like, oh, I need a book for this, I need a book for that. And I just read both of these within the past month. I enjoyed them both. And so I wanted to introduce you to these authors and these novels. Yeah. So this book also qualifies for the prompt, which is an author's debut. And this book also qualifies for the prompt of an award-winning book, bestseller. So there you go. The Wilderness and Lonely Crowds. And that's it. So leave me a comment. Let me know how the challenge is going for you. Let me know what books you're reading. As I said, the goal is to read at least 24 books, but don't pressure yourself. If that feels like a lot, just take your time and have fun with it. The purpose of the challenge is really for you to step out of your own comfort zone when it comes to reading, read books that challenge you, read genres that you might not normally even think about, introduce yourself to new authors, new literary devices, and so on, like that, right? One of the things I realized for me when it comes to my reading practice is that I definitely want my reading practice to challenge me. I want it to give me more vocabulary words, better vocabulary, right? And I wanted to force me to think outside the box, examine my own life, and examine the way I tell my own story. And I think part of what made me really enjoy these books is because the focus is on the interior lives of Black women specifically. Like the authors make no mistake. The authors are not fuzzy around the fact that these are Black women. These are the lives of Black women in these books, and they're contemporary Black women, right? So a lot of the things they go through feel very relevant for me personally. Um, but yeah, I wanted this to be a short, quick video, so I'm going to stop talking. But please leave me a comment. And thank y'all who have subscribed to this channel, because I finally made it to 1,600 subscribers, which was my goal for January, to make it to 1,600 subscribers. And I finally made it. So I'm going to set a new goal to see if I can make it to 2,000 by March. So if you can, please share this video with anyone you know who likes to read, anyone you know who's looking for a new novel by a new author, anyone you know who might be interested in coming to our reading club on February 1st. All right, y'all. Enough chit chat. Have a good day and happy reading. Bye.